question I want to ask, it's not about vaccines. It's not about anything like that. At what point is the NFL going to die out? And this isn't a sports show, I get that. But look, man, all you got to do is look at the product on the field in the NFL versus the product on the field in the MLB and NBA. Basketball and baseball both objectively have better athletes than they did 15 years ago. The NFL has gotten significantly worse. Like, I don't know how many of you guys are football fans out there, but the best team right now, the Philadelphia Eagles, they have the best record, right? They would be a mid-tier team in 2012. They wouldn't be that good. The product on the field has significantly declined. And it's almost perfect correlation with when all this stuff about CTE and concussions started coming out. Is I think parents are taking their kids and saying, no, you're not going to play football. You can play another sport. That's fine. You'll still get the team building aspect. You'll make friends. You'll be a part of something bigger than yourself and all that, but you're not going to destroy your brain in the process. And I think that's why you're seeing the better athletes are starting to choose sports like basketball and baseball rather than football. You're even seeing like lacrosse is even making somewhat of a push in the United States now, which is crazy to me. I never would have thought that. I thought that was for rich liberal elitists on the East Coast. Never would have thought you'd see full-on lacrosse pickup games in Omaha, Nebraska on a Sunday afternoon. I drove by one not too long ago. It's crazy. But that's the fact here, is that more parents, especially of kids that are maybe of higher athletic ability, are saying, hey, you're not going to play this. You're not going to destroy your brain. You can play a sport, you can do all that, but we're not going to let you we're not going to let you take these hits that are going to destroy your brain and risk, potential death every time you step out onto the field. And I'm kind of torn on it. I'm not one of those people that's gung-ho, because there's crazy people out there that want to ban football. That's too far. I wouldn't forbid my son from playing football if he wanted to. I wouldn't encourage it. I wouldn't be all about pushing him to do it. Like, I'll put a basketball court in my backyard, man, but I wouldn't tell him no, is basically the point I'm getting to. But it's not something that I would actively encourage. And I'm not taking a dunk on anyone whose kids played football 15, 20 years ago, because the information wasn't available back then. There were scary hits and stuff, but you didn't know what was actually happening to a lot of these guys' brains, with no more experience than just playing all 4 years of high school. So this isn't a knock on any of you guys. The information wasn't there. In fact, the NFL actively tried to cover it up. And after they got caught covering it up, they said, hey, we're sorry. We're going to work to try and fix this, to prevent this from getting worse. And to their credit, they have done that. They've made strides in player safety. They've done rule changes for better or for worse. The technology in the helmets and pads and mouthpieces is a lot better than it was a couple years ago. But despite all that, I still don't know if the progress is there to show for it. And I think that's the big problem here. Is when you see a guy drop, even if it was, so they're saying it's some kind of heart condition. I don't, it's some Latin name. I'm not going to come out with, but what they're saying happened was, it's a very rare occurrence. When your heart takes blunt force trauma to the chest in between beats, you can potentially go into cardiac arrest. And so essentially, so his heart went into cardiac arrest after taking a big shot to the chest. If that's the case, I'm honestly surprised this hasn't happened before. Like that's the biggest surprise to me, is that this never happened.